Hello and welcome to a very special episode of The Sligo Show with myself, Brendan Tierney. We're here at our studio in the ATU Innovation Centre with a very special guest, Mr. Sean Flannery. Sean, you're very welcome to The Sligo Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Debut.
Yeah.
Hopefully it lives up to as good as it looks in real life now when you come in.
Good.
So Sean, we through kind of mutual friend, we've heard you've had this time last year had quite a difficult, how the best way to describe a situation.
Yeah.
And 1 year on, through connections, we said, right, maybe you'd like to come in and chat. And as it happened, you were glad to come in and chat. So for people that are watching that maybe don't know, this time last year, what happened?
In the lead up to the 23rd of March of last year, I was just having some neck pains and some headaches that I was concerned about. It was bothering me, It was disrupting sleep and whatnot, and the sleep was already disrupted with, we've 3 young girls, and the youngest was yet to turn 1, so she was probably 9 or 10 months old, and the sleep was quite limited, disrupted. So on top of, I have a gym out in Rathcormac, and there was some work going on to convert an adjoining area along with the regular working week, so all that was kind of happening at the same time, and the neck pain and the headaches, I just put it down to the lack of sleep and the stress involved in at that time. But subsequently, things just turned south, or a turn for the worst on the 23rd. It was a Saturday, the 23rd of March, and the vertebral artery, there was a tear in it, and a blood clot came out of the tear, and it caused a massive stroke on that morning. I ended up in Sligo University Hospital quite quickly. Fortunately, I got a CAT scan straight away, and it highlighted the clot, and they administered some blood thinners to get to work on the clot, and that was probably my saving grace.
Being caught early, so as soon as it happened, from the ignorant like me, were you unconscious, or what was it feeling? So what did it feel like? Sorry.
It felt like an out of body experience where I knew I was in big trouble, and I lost all my function. The anything you associate with stroke, and again, stroke to me I would have associated the word stroke with somebody in their 80s or 90s or something like that, but I knew exactly what was happening because it was very obvious. But the loss of all function, so the left side shut down, midsections shut down, the left side drooped and went numb, and the mouth drooped, and the swallow went, the speech went, I couldn't sit or stand, all that stuff. I was vomiting, cold sweats, all that happened at the exact same time, and I was like, oh shit, this is bad news.
Really bad. You knew obviously then. This is definitely a stroke, although it's probably the last thing you expected to happen.
Yeah, this is bad news. So an ambulance was called. Fortunately, landed very, very quickly, and then I was in Sligo University Hospital within an hour, and the CAT scan and the blood thinners got to work, but I met the radiologist who I can tell you
read the scan.
I can tell you again. I went to Beaumont straight away that day, and I knew the doctor that was dealing with me. Stephen Gilmartin I played with him and against him on the Gaelic fields for Tubbercurry for a number of years, and he was the doctor that dealt with me, and I was failing all the coordination and the balance tests. I was just failing them miserably, and all I can remember, and I was with it. I could see it all happening, but it was like somebody else's. It's like it was happening to somebody else, and but I can remember his expression, and I can remember how concerned he looked. Like he looked like he was really, really, really concerned, and I can remember the commotion in the emergency room where there was just so many people just.
Okay, so this was like in a bed in the hospital, and they were panicking. It wasn't like, we'll do your scan. It wasn't like you were lying back. Okay, so it was really panic. Okay.
Panic stations, And I'm looking at all this, you know, and they were asking me to touch your nose, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Any of the tests that they were trying to get me to do, and I was continuing to go downhill, you know.
Do you mean losing more power? Is that how you mean by downhill? Is that what you felt like?
It felt like, you know, just that waviness and the not being able to control
anything,
your body, you know.
Could you talk in any way?
No.
No.
It was just very, very there was no speech. There was no speech there. So Stephen was very, very concerned. He said, we got to get this guy to Beaumont because there's a good chance he's going to need some of his skull removed to relieve the pressure of the brain, the swell, or to remove the clot. We can't do it here. He's got to go there. So my sister knows the staff in the ambulance. I couldn't tell you their names, but again, I never got a chance to thank them, or, you know, I don't know. I have their names. I just can't. I couldn't tell them to you off the top of my head. But they got me from Sligo to Beaumont in 2 hours and 10 minutes, door to door. Wow. So that was like.
So everyone was like, "This is high level." This is. Sorry for regulars. Is this? Did at any point they think this could be a death? Like this? Yeah. It wasn't just that you could have a real disabilities for years after this. It's like, no, this could be death.
No, that would be no. Stephen did intimate to my family that, you know, they were on about going home and packing a bag, and they said, no, you got to follow that ambulance now straight away, and just be prepared. Be prepared that, you know, he doesn't make this trip. Yeah. Just be prepared that he's not going to make this trip.
You were with the staff in the ambulance. Was anyone else with you that time?
I was in the ambulance. Yeah. Now he would have said that to them away from me.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I was just informed of that after. Okay. So in the ambulance, now we're talking about a headache beyond the levels of headaches. This is, you can say 10 out of 10, but it was, you know, unbearable, the headache, unbearable. And I was there for over a month, non-stop. You know, that was like...
A month after?
After, yeah. Okay, and this was like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And there's no medication at
all?
No
medication helped at all.
And I know we've skipped past the hospital, but how did what gave you any bit of comfort from it? Or
perspective of things that were returning.
Wow.
And that was the first sign was actually in the ambulance to Beaumont, where I literally couldn't handle the pain in my head, and I can remember pleading with the paramedic, could you please give me some painkillers? And then it dawned on me that I spoke to him. So then I kind of, you know, as bad as the pain was, it dawned on me that I just after speaking to him, so my speech had come back, and I knew that's a big sign.
Was it still slurred? I assume, was it
a little bit slurred?
Did you know it's okay?
But I spoke to him, and then I swallowed after I spoke to him. I was like, so they were the first 2 chinks of light, and I knew that at that point that the blood thinners were getting to work on the clot. Wow. And that's a big plus. That's probably the biggest sign, the biggest positive sign is speech, getting your speech back. And that was happening within, you know, the 2 to 3 hours after.
After it initially happened, right?
Yeah. So I was in, the stroke happened in the morning. I was in Beaumont by lunchtime on that Saturday. And so that Saturday, the 23rd, the Sunday, the 24th, the Monday, the Tuesday, things were continuing to deteriorate, and it didn't look great for those days. So there was this is the bit that people don't know or haven't seen any videos, because you couldn't have any videos of it.
Yeah. Of what you looked like at that moment.
Yeah. This wasn't even about how much function you'd get back. This was about surviving.
Okay, so even after those number of days, and so in the ambulance you thought, okay, so things are starting to kick in, but then it deteriorated again down a level.
The swell in the brain was increasing per day. So in Beaumont I had 7, maybe 8 CAT scans in those days after, and each CAT scan each day showed an increase of the swell, which they didn't want to see. And the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, or the Sunday, the Monday, Tuesday. Then on the Wednesday, it showed a sign of stabilising from the previous day, and that's what they wanted to see. So that meant the increase of the swell had stopped.
Well, you wonder at what point did they go, when's the right time to go in?
There was one more day. I think there was one more day left.
Oh, okay, before they go, we have to go in. Okay, but it's obviously such a specialist unit, they know exactly what they're... Clearly,
so I think it boiled down to that Wednesday. Had it continued to increase in swell size, I don't think they would have had any choice but to remove part of the skull, and then if that happens, anything goes.
Okay, and at this point these days, did anyone tell you, like, or did you just know I could be lights out here, or did anyone have to tell you just to let you know?
No, I knew.
Okay, you just knew without them telling you.
Yeah.
And on a daily basis, you were awake all the time, so
I was, yeah, but I was in a ward with, there was 4 other people, 1, 2, 3, 4, all people that were in their 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, all health issues. They were all health issues, but I knew by looking at them that, you know, I wasn't in here for a laugh, you know. I was being treated the same as they were, and they were all in bad shape. Like there was literally people dying around you.
Yeah, not a nice environment to be in, obviously.
No.
I mean, you're trying to fight. And what, like, you've diced with death, so literally, what did that feel like? How did that feel for you? Or did you get resilient? Did you start to give up? Or
in those days, I don't think I knew what was going on, so I didn't really have any thoughts about what was happening. It was kind of in the moment for that each one of those days. Just kind of prepared for whatever you were told, you know.
Okay.
But in terms of being able to do anything, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't sit up or stand or.
Could you talk at that point at all? No, I was up in and out.
Well, my head was bursting so badly that I couldn't handle anybody talking to me, or there was no TV or no radios. There was no light.
Nothing to even pass the day, kind of.
No.
I was going to go, how did you pass the day?
No, I was just trying to handle the pain.
How come they can't give you something for it? This is, again, not a medical person.
They gave me morphine twice.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing that kind of worked. But all that really did was just knock you out.
Okay. Yeah.
And they don't really want to give you that because of it's a highly addictive substance.
Well, there's many ways. It might give false readings of what you're really like. Maybe
and you can get addicted to it.
Okay.
But all the headache tablets in the world, they're like Smarties.
I never knew that with a stroke. I mean, I don't know how common that is, but that's mentally to go through that.
So I obviously mean, if I took 4 headache tablets in a year, up to last year, that might have been the height of it. Never one for tablets, but I would have taken them off anybody last year. And what was I on 20, 30 tablets a day? Probably I was, for 6 months. 6 months, I'd say, yeah. A day, yeah.
For anyone that may not know, like, you've played elite, you know, League of Ireland soccer. How many, 10 years was it? Or I'm not an anorak in Sligo sport, but Sligo GA, multiple years, you know, loads of goals, you know, high end. And then to go back to, so you're in Beaumont, and then the day comes where they go, okay, it's stabilised.
Yeah.
How long did you stay then in Beaumont?
I was there for 2 weeks. But on the Wednesday or the Thursday maybe, the consultant came in, and this is in the space of a day or two. So he said, we seen the stabilising of the swell. So it's gone from can you survive to what state are you going to be in?
Yeah, what function can you gain back?
Physically, functionally, whatever. To you can make a full recovery and beyond it if you want. That's what we wanted to. We've seen what we wanted to see. So in that regard, you're out of
the woods.
Out of the woods, but you've lost everything. You're at zero here. But here you go, off you go. This is up to you now, and it's going to take a lot of repetitions, a lot of effort for you to just get basic function back.
Yeah.
Like like basic, the most basic of things. Walking to the toilet, having a shower, sitting on the seat at the side of the bed. That was all. Forget about it.
Yeah. It must be surreal to go back to that level of like disability of being able to do anything like.
So along with that, I was tipping off to the left. So whatever, the cerebellum was the area that was affected. The cerebellum affects balance and coordination and speech. But the balance and the coordination, they were just gone, completely obliterated. So I literally just, when the consultant was speaking to me, I was kind of looking behind me going, are you talking to me now? He says, you can recover 100% or beyond it if you want, but it's completely up to you. It's about the effort you put in now. And I said, I'm literally barely able to look at him because
the brain is still not functioning.
No, and as well, the brain is still healing now, and the fatigue levels are huge still. But and I said, when can I start? He goes, well, your head is pumping, and it's going to be like that for another, 4 or 6 weeks at least. I said, but are you saying I can start today? And he goes, well, if you want, you can, if you can handle it. And I don't think he finished that sentence, and I was gone.
So gone as in?
I was gone, ready to start.
Okay.
I was ready to start.
And how long did you stay in Beaumont? And when were you released home?
Another week.
Okay.
Another week there, I'd say, or more. The following, a week later, Thursday of the following week. And I went back to Sligo for another week.
I was going to say, it wasn't home, obviously, it was back to the hospital. And then, so was it constant, like, what was, like, I presume you were doing some exercise, or was it some kind of thing like that, or you had to go and do it yourself, or how do you, what's the path, I suppose?
Yeah, I don't think it was any conscious decision or anything, but it was just like autopilot. I guess it's who I am and what I've done over the years. Instead of training every day, now I was recovering equated to training.
What was a basic thing that you had to start working at that was really tough?
At the very, very start, it was, can I do this? And then if I could do that, or if I couldn't do it, right, can I take a break and do it again? And maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And if I could, so it was just constant. The next,
pick up a cup, sit down, stay. Okay. So.
First thing was sitting up in the bed. Could I get myself from that position to seated? So that was probably the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing was, could I use my hands to eat my meal, my breakfast or whatever? Is can I hold a cup? Can I hold a spoon on both sides? The left side was the one that was affected, so they were trying to encourage me to use the left whenever I could, for picking, for any sort of function.
Yeah.
And then that was, can I eat a meal with both hands? Can I get the spoon from there and put it into my mouth without missing my mouth? That sort of. And they were all little wins, so it was gradually adding to that every day. And I wasn't conscious about it. It wasn't like, I must do this, and it just kind of, it was like an autopilot sort of thing. And then, can I sit in the side of the bed? Can I get up? Can I stand up on the side of the bed and sit back down? Can I stand up and sit down in the seat beside the bed? Can I stand up and get back into the bed? And all this stuff was taking a massive amount out of me. So
that's the thing. Your brain and your fatigue was there without trying to do that.
So I might have worked for a minute and rested for 2 hours, and did it again for a minute and rested for 2 hours, and that was the cycle
all the time.
And then as things improved, that minute became 90 seconds. I made 2 minutes, and then can I get from here to the toilet?
But you can't do it. You had to have someone obviously there all the time.
All the time. They were giving out to me. Well, they were giving out to me that I didn't have somebody on my left side. So if I ever wanted to move at all, the Zimmer frames. So a Zimmer frame. I was on a Zimmer frame for the initial part of it. Then moved on to there was a wheelchair. I was brought to physio in a wheelchair. But the Zimmer frame was what. But I had to have someone on my left side because I was tipping.
All the way that.
They were calling me a fall risk because of.
Yeah, and then something else goes. Again, okay.
But I got the green light to go to physio. So I dealt with an occupational therapist and speech and language therapist briefly, because they knew that things were improving. And they gave me the green light to start physio. And that's when things really kicked on. Like,
and this is at home now?
No, this is in Beaumont.
So that day you started doing it, and then in Sligo you were doing more, and then at what point were you home then? 2 weeks later, you said, is it?
2.5 weeks later, probably 3 weeks later.
And
3 weeks later.
What's your day like then at that point? Because obviously there's 3 young kids, you were saying?
3 who I didn't see.
One of them was 1.
Yeah, who I didn't see for those weeks.
Yeah.
I just disappeared off the face of the earth, and the ironic thing of getting back to Sligo was I could look out the window at Ballinode, but I couldn't get there.
Oh, okay, at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I could see out the window, but I couldn't.
Which must have been
get out.
Oddly tough going, okay, I'm near home now, thank God, but nearly worse that you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a Band of Brothers. Remember that Band of Brothers show that used to be on? People have described Ward's situations as it wasn't that way in Dublin, in Beaumont, because I didn't know anybody, but here it was like that kind of Band of Brothers vibe where you're all.
So you're in a ward of people in the same recovery pattern. Okay.
So it's a war zone. Everyone's looking out for each other. Everyone's willing each other on. Yeah. Everyone's trying to get you to kick on, to regain what you can.
Were you still really worried, or were you kind of being super confident, going, I know I'm going to make full recovery? Or were you always realistically, I'm sure, going, Jesus, this could still end up that I can't do X, Y, and Z?
Once I was told I could recover fully, I knew that the ball was in my court.
And no better man.
Because the destiny was in my hands anyway. Yeah.
You've done like ultramarathons and multiple triathlons, is that right? Ironmans, am I right?
Ironmans, a couple of them, yeah.
Okay.
And all that was pales into comparison. Like,
that's what I was going to say, because I couldn't even dream of doing one of those. I think that's unbelievable. Yeah. You've done them, and now you'd say the recovery you had to do.
It was nothing in comparison.
And doing all this is what I can't get over, the headache for 4 or 5 weeks, but still getting up, going, do me minutes.
Well, the perspective was
that's mad.
Totally
it's mad
shifted.
Human resilience.
Totally shifted, because I was now up on my feet. I was now walking and doing exercise or doing various movements that the videos look like I was very. It looks very basic, toe taps and little step ups and stuff, but it was. I felt like I bottomed out, and every day was just up, and it's continued that way.
As I was saying, so right now, today, like what remaining problems or issues do you have from the day?
Well, people often ask, are you recovered? Are you 100% recovered now? Yeah. And you can look at it from 2 angles. I would say you can never recover fully from it, from one angle. So that fatigue that's still there, the fatigue. Ironically, it's the other side, but my right leg has had no sensation in it since.
Oh.
And has nerve pain in it, and I could pour boiling water on it and it wouldn't fade it, sort of thing.
Okay, but it still functions, the sensation's gone, okay.
It functions. And again, it's all that perspective side of things as well. So there's no deficit strength or power-wise with that leg. It is nervy pain, it is painful, but it hasn't stopped me at all, so it's...
So you're back doing... Would you be back to whatever your normal weekly gym routine was? Are you kind of...
I'm gone beyond it. I'm beyond it, yeah.
Oh my God! Because when you walked in, clearly you're very fit, and strong.
So that in that regard, I'm off all the medication. I thought I was on medication for life, that kind of statins and thinners and stuff. And last September they said you've no underlying health issues. So the consultant in Sligo said, you're good to go. I think there's no point in you being on any more medication. So that's gone.
Yeah.
Just continue doing what you're doing. And people often ask. And I've heard he brought it on himself, or
sorry, this is people like the good old in any town, the rumours mill. Because when we'd all heard, Sean, no one knew what exactly happened.
Yeah, the experts.
So you've heard back.
Yeah, the experts would say, he brought it upon himself. He pushed himself too hard and blah blah blah. Whereas the opposite is the case. The way I was has helped me beyond any question or doubt.
Yeah.
And
so this is the good old Irish thing, and someone, see that they died there, they got cancer, they never smoked or drank. Like that's sometimes it's just bad luck. But in your case, it had nothing to do.
Nothing to do with
what you got. Just a bad luck moment.
Bad luck. It was. And
it could happen to any of us.
Absolutely.
God forbid.
Absolutely. And it was. They couldn't give me any reasons in Dublin or Sligo, and it's pure misfortune. Yeah. Misfortune, but massive fortune to get treated early, and then it's up to you then after that.
Yeah. And what was the rumours? Did that really annoy you, or you just?
I heard something along the way, somewhere along the line, that the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats, and that really kind of resonated. So people will only give out about you or whinge about you the majority of people who do give out or whinge or moan or complain don't work as hard as you do. Only if people work harder than me would I pass heat.
I understand.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, I really shouldn't be concerned, and I'm not really concerned about what the.
No, but I think we say this, but like sometimes a little niggle gets in, and it's like I think we're only human to go. Yeah. That's so disappointing. Someone would say that or think that.
So I mean, this is 12 months post. I think it's important for people to know that I am not affected very badly by this, like some people are.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that that's not the case. And I also want people to know that it wasn't an overreaction or an over-exaggeration. It wasn't a TIA. It wasn't a little basic, mild little mishap. This was really, really, really as serious as it gets. And it wasn't designed by me. It wasn't a promotional stunt.
It's hard to believe someone.
Yeah. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, what happened.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because I'm not sure. I mean, it's not for me to say if everybody could make this, to make the ground up, you know. But if you ask me how many reps I did in April to September of last year, I'd say 250,000 easily.
My God.
Easily. And I'd do it again and I'd double it.
Were you always, when you were young, this driven with challenges or sport? It's clearly a DNA in you.
It's without thinking about it. It's definitely an autopilot thing. It's not going. I'm going to do this. It's what's in me.
Well, the most fascinating thing you told me is when you were in there, this mad headache within a couple of days, and they said, "Oh, you can," and you said, "When can I start?" Like,
yeah.
And I know that's not you trying to be the hero. It's like that was your going. I don't care what anyone thinks of me saying that. I need to survive.
I need to survive, and I'm going to get things back. If there's a chance, I'm going to get it all back. And it's that kind of second chance syndrome thing. And it's, are you going to grab it? Here it is. Are you going to take it, or are you going to turn it down?
And how would you find this is the obvious question, your perspective on life and busyness and work or whatever, or family? What would you feel is different?
I mean, it is difficult that you do get thrown back into things, you know. I mean, life is life. Life has its challenges, regardless, and you can say that, oh, I'm going to do this and do that and the other. Work-wise, the gym, you know, I did think I had to do 95% of stuff. And what the summer taught me was I didn't have to do that, you know. So I can do the mornings. I have enough energy to get me to like lunchtime. Then I do need to rest after that. But a rest of an hour or so reinvigorates me, and I'm good to go for the evening again.
Okay.
But I train in the morning. I'm going to continue to do all my rehab exercises. So any of the balanced coordination stuff I incorporated last year, I still do them, even though I don't need to do them now. But I think everybody should be doing them, regardless. I also want to point out, I'm not doing this for any sort of self-gratification or something.
No, you didn't ask, come on.
No.
It was like a mutual chat with someone. Like, so no, not at all. There's
and it's not my thing, but as regards, when we got the news that recovery was on the table, I said to Maggie, my partner, I said, can you video whatever chance you get, and don't ask me, just record whatever happens, because I'm going to recover from this, and it's going to be worth seeing.
Yeah. And an inspiration to someone that might be going through it, and even if they don't get to your clear full physique and fitness that you are, that mightn't be what everyone needs to be in their life, but you go, whatever, everyone has their own journey.
Yeah, everyone has their own journey, and I've seen it from all angles. I've seen the people who didn't get treated early enough, so what they lost, they'll never get it back.
Yeah.
So no matter how dedicated or determined or driven they are, it was too late for them to regain anything or regain what they had. But then I also seen people who were treated early and have an opportunity to recover is on the cards for them, but they don't have it in them
for whatever number of reasons. Okay. But I suppose you're a shining light of going, and again, it's not for someone thinking, well, I'm not going to turn into a big athlete like that, but like it's not that, it's your own journey, whatever you're back to where you are.
And a buddy of mine said when he knew that recovery was a possibility, he said, you're going to enjoy this now, aren't you? And I said, I think I am. Yeah.
Do you think you were enjoying it to go because you're thinking of your partner and your kids, and not just like I want to be able to go to the gym again necessarily, he's going to want to get back to be able to live.
Well, it was everything. You know, they were obviously the main goal was to be there for the kids, and have them at the forefront of your mind every day, wanting to see them again, and being able to play with them and all that sort of everything that goes on. Basics that you don't even think about.
No.
That you take for granted, and that really drove me on. That drove me on. But along with that was the pleasure of knowing that every day was an up, and you could see things coming back,
Whereas others would, as you said, the toughest work you've ever done, but others would probably kind of understandably, I'm sure, give up, going, this is just so tough.
Yeah. So I mean, people went to the physio room and they were in their wheelchair and they wanted the physio to do the work for them, So they might do 3 sets of 10 and sit back down and get wheeled out and come back the next day and do 3 sets of 10. But they knew that the physios, they were pulling out stuff that they'd never used, that had dust on it,
Okay.
They knew that they had to
add more
challenge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're completely different to most human beings I've ever met with, so I'm sure they were going, this is not normal.
No, this is normal. And so if I went in at 10 o'clock in the morning and I finished the session, and they could see in me that they'd say, you want to come back this evening, don't you? I said, absolutely. Come back at 4. So back at 4. And then there was the porter situation, and the porters, I got crack with the porters because they were all Bulls fans and Pats fans, and the real dubs, And at the early days, they came to the wheelchair to the ward, St. Pat's ward, on -1 level in Beaumont. So they'd come in, put me into the chair when I had no choice, and they'd wheel me into the lift up to the ground floor where the physio room was beside the reception, do the session, they'd come back for me, they'd wheel me back. That went on for a few days. Then I started being able to move myself, and I said, once I'm on my feet, I'm not getting into a wheelchair. So and also once I got on my feet, I was using the stairs. There's no lift.
You must have been a difficult patient. They were like, oh, what if you fall?
Yeah. So that was it. The argument was, I said, I'm not getting into that. And he goes, sure, I have to bring you. I said, I'll walk beside you, but I'm not getting into it. And then they'd get as far as the lift, and you'd say, I'm not getting into the lift, I'm going to take in the stairs. And he says, you have to get into the lift. I'm going to take the stairs. You take the lift, and I'll meet you upstairs. you better be there when I get up to when that lift door is open. So the lift opens, your man comes out, the porter comes out with his wheelchair, and I'm meeting him there after coming to the stairs. And I was on the stairs, and I'd go up the stairs and I'd walk back down back ways, and I'd go up 2, come back 2, up 2, back 1. I'd do it a couple of times just to get more reps in. Yeah. And can I do it holding onto the banister? Can I take my hand away and do it now? Add in a few toe taps while I was at it. And that was just, I never met anybody on the stairs. I never met one person on the stairs.
But like, probably understandably, it's just, I suppose anyway, it's an amazing, as I said, resilience to
I had the
drive.
Stairs. Every time I was on the stairs, I had it for myself. I never had to worry about meeting anybody because there was nobody on them. Everyone used the lift.
Yeah.
And
do you think do you think we're, even our health services are going, well, look, this has happened and we won't push them too hard. Do you think it's no harm to maybe try, again, everyone's their own journey, it's hard to comment, like, but
it's hard to comment. I mean, on the ward in St. Pat's, on the ward, they didn't want you to do a thing because of the risk involved.
Yeah.
But when you went to the physio room, they would have had you climbing up the walls if they thought that you were able to.
Were you coaching the other patients? Were you driving them on a bit?
I was doing a little bit of it, actually. That's honestly, and that's the truth. In the ward, there was a little window beside the bed, a tall window with a small ledge on it. And 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, everything shuts down. All you hear is beep, 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 beep by the machines. Delirious patients shouting and screaming. And I was there stepping up and down off this window stool. Stepping up and stepping down. And then I would have suggested it to the people around, but they were not able to get up.
No, a different level, obviously, a different situation, in fairness,
so they weren't able to do. And that's what I spent most evenings, most time alone on those initial days, was trying to just make use of the time as much. If I had energy, I was doing something. And then when that ran out, I rested. As soon as I had energy, I was up and I was doing it.
I suppose watching the others going, God love them, they maybe can't do this. At least you were able, so you had the drive to go.
I was able to do it. Yeah.
And do you live in any worry now of another one happening, or you kind of go, I can't live in that, it's out of my head?
No, I don't. The odd time, you might get a neck pain, stress, or a stiff neck or something, and you might think to yourself, oh fuck, this could be this.
Yeah.
What's the chance of this being a tear? But no, it was. They told me it was very, very, very misfortunate.
Yeah.
And the chances of reoccurrence minimal, like. Right. So that was enough for me to say, that's not to worry about it. So I don't, the headaches they're gone.
Yeah, they're completely gone now.
Gone, yeah.
No more medication.
No more medication.
Were the doctors were you a unique case?
Absolutely.
Were they surprised from what had happened? Not many people get back to what you did.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's like, and I know, and I keep coming back to your elite fitness. But even for someone that's on a lower level of abilities, you can still reach your goal. Yeah. So it's maybe just an inspiration to go, well, let's keep giving it everything you can, maybe. And again, I don't know. I've obviously never been in this situation. But
everybody has an opportunity, has a chance to do the right thing. Whether people do or don't, it's up to them.
Yeah, no, of course.
You can't make anybody do anything.
No, you can't live in their eyes and know what's going on in their own moment. Yeah.
No. So I was lying in that ward in Beaumont, and the heart rate monitors, the blood pressure monitors were over the bed, and most people's were sky high because of whatever whatever reasons they were in there for, but mine was probably in the 40s, and that grew up to the 50s over the course of a couple of weeks, but. The staff had to, every day, they'd change at 8 o'clock in the morning. The night crew went off and the day crew came in. And all I can remember is the pointing over, going, don't pass much heat of that. normally that'd be a red flag. But
of course, yeah.
And also just watch him. He's a flight risk, as in he'll take off. He can take off. But I mean, things were miserable those days. I mean, I can remember getting stuck on the shower chair, getting stuck. I couldn't get up out of it. You know, I had to ring for assistance. That was a low point. That felt really bad. I had to get assistance to get out of the chair, and then I can remember saying, I'm coming back tomorrow and I'm doing that again and I won't be calling. So I came back, did it again, managed to stand up. So it was, you know, this is all autopilot stuff. I mean it's like, what else are you meant to do? Like this is the way I operate. So, you know, I don't see it as being. Is it for everybody? I don't know if that is.
You're only telling your story, like you can only know what that is, and like we've told, it's amazing the recovery. But as you just alluded to there, you must have had some horrible, dark, sad moments. So like to still get through all that, like so, you must be very proud of yourself now where you are, or do you think like that?
I don't know if I think like that. I can remember looking at an advertisement for a 5K fun run in aid of Beaumont. I can remember looking at it because they were advertising it on one of those big roller advertisements on the way to the physio room. And this was April last year. And I was looking at this advertisement for September of last year. And I'm thinking, so there's me shuffling along. Either in a wheelchair being pushed or shuffling along on a Zimmer frame, looking at this thing going, I wonder, is that possible? You know, what's the chances? And then I said it to Maggie. Then maybe a few days later, said, we'll get back for that. The whole lot of us will go back and we'll all do that together. And she goes, yeah, right, yeah. Try and just put one foot in front of the other first. You know, it wasn't even a long shot. It was like a impossibility.
Out of the stratosphere altogether, like, you know. And she must have been obviously just living with the fear every day, going, where's the next step in our journey? And then you're gonna go run a 5K. Yeah.
So I mean, it sounds like something very basic, and in the grand scheme of things, it is, you know, it was or it is. But September came around, and that was the 6-month mark, and things went well over the summer, and things developed well over the summer, and it was management. Trying to manage fatigue, manage recovery, trying to manage everything. And if I was to do it all over again, I'd do it exactly the same way. So there's nothing I would say, oh, this could have been better, that could have been better, I wish I didn't do that. I would do it in identical. For the last 12 months, I'd do it again exactly. And people say, your problem is now you won't be able to hold back and you won't be able to... don't push yourself and blah, blah, blah. People don't know, that's when people don't understand that this side of things is the one thing that I really understand. You know, how I work or how a body works or how to get from A to B. If this is a race or a triathlon or whatever, I'm here and I want to get to there. How do I do that?
You've coached elite athletes multiple times. You've seen every kind of journey needed. So that was your own journey you were planning.
What do I need to do? What do I need to eat and drink? What do I need? Rest do I need? What strategies or whatever? What exercise? What's the progression or what's the...
Must have been the ultimate fitness plan to put together, like.
Yeah. And again, it's not for everybody, but...
Of course,
I knew exactly what I needed to do without even thinking about it a huge amount. And I did it to a T, and that was... There was never any doubt in my mind that when the consultant said you can recover fully and you can go beyond it if you want, but it's up to you. Once they said that, that's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. And but you do. There was a quote. There was a couple of quotes in the physio room in Beaumont. On the walls, there was some pictures, and they had quotes on the pictures. And I would have never really passed much heed of quotes, inspirational quotes and stuff, but the one in particular really really stuck with me, and I was looking at it when I was wheeled in on the wheelchair. I had to sit in the wheelchair and wait for the previous person to finish. So you were left under this sign, and I don't know if it was purposely done or not, but you would just look up at this, and it said, "Determination, the will to succeed, can overcome the greatest adversity." And I said, and it's now in the gym.
On your own gym,
in big writing on the wall, and I look at it every day when I come in. It's the first thing I see, bang. and those initial days, I sat in a wheelchair waiting for the session to start, looking up at this sign, and I'm thinking to myself, determination. And then I can remember saying to myself, you know, this is where you show what you've got now, and this is go time. And if you think you've seen determination, I'll show you determination. That was my mindset then. And who was I saying it to? I don't know. I was saying it in my head to myself, saying it to the physios, saying it to the world. I'll show you determination.
Like, this show allows me to meet people and hear amazing stories. We're very blessed, and thanks for coming in and tell us. But like, I've never talked to another young man that's done, and I had no idea, and I'm sure everyone watching at home probably had no idea what you went through.
Yeah.
You have this amazing aura and energy just sitting across from you. And I can only imagine why you've been so successful in sport, successful teaching people.
Yeah.
But ultimately, from hearing your story, you bounce that energy back or reinvigorate it back in yourself unbelievably. It's an amazing story. I can't believe what the fit man I see in front of me today. I don't know what to say, I suppose, other than well done. It's unbelievable, but it's an amazing human resilience story. It's unreal.
I mean, I honestly don't think there was any other way from anything else I could have done. This was just what I was meant to do. So
yeah, it just like you were going, I'm doing the for you, for yourself. There was no medals or glory in this. It was like, I've got a goal and I've got to get back to it.
And you can call it a second chance syndrome or a second bite of the cherry, but it was to go from a very grim, bleak situation where survival would have been okay, and whatever state you're in after that, then that was the next thing. Survival was the first part.
Yeah, and for the level of a stroke you had, it was probably, they were probably going, you probably won't ever go back to the way you were, but you could still be able to get to walk, which would be all right, really. But and
nothing you could do about it. So I knew that I was like at the mercy of medicine and science and faith and whatever. So I couldn't do a thing about it for those days. I was at the mercy of whatever
was controlling. Yeah.
But soon as I was given the opportunity, and it was up to me, then that was like, this is what I was waiting for.
It's like the ticket waiting to be handed.
Yeah. Wow. But none of that would have mattered if the initial part didn't work out, and thankfully it worked out.
Yeah. And I think it's important to mention, anyone watching, and we all can Google it, look up this key signs to know if someone's had a stroke, because you said early intervention is as key as. It's probably the most important thing.
It's the most important thing.
So to know, and go and Google it, people. Might put up a little graphic at the end to go, is it FACE? I should even know all of it. Fast. The smile is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the face and the drooping mouth, the drool or the lack of swallow, the speech disappearing or going, or the function, or if the left side or left or right side shut down, and any sort of a hint of any of that.
Hospital. Don't even think about doctors.
Forget about it.
Bang. And even if you're wrong, great.
Yeah, and if an ambulance isn't available, drive.
Okay, get the person.
Get there, because that immediate. It could be a brain hemorrhage, it could be a bleed in the brain, or it could be a clot. But the CAT scan will determine what's needed. And that, once the treatment is administered as soon as possible, that is your saving grace, Wow. That's your saving grace.
Well, Sean, thanks a million.
Yeah.
Stories like this aren't always easy for people to come back and tell and live through.
No.
As I said, it's been a fascinating story. And
happy to.
So you're back on the grind out in SFX out in North Cormac there, and seeing all your old clients, including Olympians, medalists now.
Yeah. That's it.
We've had one on here mentioning you before. So back to the ground. Sean, thank you so much for coming in and sharing that amazing story. I'm sure the people watching in that'll get inspired by it. I no doubt they will. And again, even to highlight, what to do when someone's having a stroke.
Yeah.
So the best of luck in the future, and sure, we'll see you around.
Day one, thank you.
So that was Sean Flannery, who's out in SFX Fitness in Rath Cormac, telling us an amazing story of his journey and how he's recovered to the way he is in the last year. Thanks to Brian and all the team behind the cameras and the ATU Innovation Centre here, and our sponsor is Pet Stop Discount Warehouse. We'll see you all again next time.
The Sligo Show is produced by Pixel Productions and hosted by Brendan Tierney. If you need video for your business or live event or would like to appear on the show, send us a message today.
This show is in partnership with ATU Sligo Innovation Centre, the hub of innovation and commercial enterprise for startups, industry, and academia.
If you like what you just watched, we would love if you could please like, share, subscribe, depending on the channel you're watching on. It will just really help us grow our voluntary project here at the Sligo Show. So thanks for watching, and thanks in advance for sharing.